Oh gosh, I hated last night. I hated everything about last night. And you know what? That's the reason why that's going to be today's intro. I'm talking about last night's game off the jump, and then we're going to get into other stuff later on because I'm tired of last night's game. I'm tired of what happens to us every single time we have a game like this, where it comes down to where the Knicks play so aggressively, so well, that it comes down to a referee call that sways the needle one way more than the other. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the referee's fault that we lost, but I will say that the referees made the final decision there at the end of that game. You can call whatever you want to call it, spade is spade. That foul call at the end of the game, never see that called anywhere else, but in Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks are in the fight, in the game, the referee's gonna call that. Now, I'm gonna have some comments be like, yo, CK, there was only 2 referees. You gotta give them. I'm not giving them no kind of chance. The league was refereed by 2 people for the longest before they officially had to bring in that 3rd referee because of situations like this. They decided to go 2 refs. They decided to go 2 refs. They should have someone on deck. They should be prepared for situations like this. This just shows another situation of the NBA not being ready for whatever is to come. They don't think outside the box. They don't be steps ahead. So they figured, you know what? If this were to happen, if what happened last night was supposed to happen with referees, we'll just run with 2. So I don't want none of the excuses. They made a trash call. And the thing is, in the beginning of overtime, they were letting the teams play, but all of a sudden when it's the end of the clock and it's the Knicks on defense, they call the foul. When you look at this play, you have to look at it in the replay to see what the foul was in the first place. Initially, you don't even see the foul, especially when you got Dwight Howard getting away with shoving Nerlens Noel after a shot that we luckily made, but that's not being called, and it's the same thing but worse. So I don't know. It's just, I had to let the game dictate what happens there. That was a whack call, especially if it's not something that's being called throughout the entire game. And you can make the excuse, oh, the referees didn't see it. Nah, miss me with that. Trash game. The Knicks now have lost to the Sixers 14 times in a row. Ben Simmons undefeated, never lost against the New York Knicks. Or is it 15 times in a row now? I don't remember, nor do I care. But last night was a stupid game, and now we have to shake it off and move on to Washington tomorrow. But before then, we have a lot of rumors and a lot of things being said right now about this trade deadline coming up on Thursday. A lot of names are coming up from other teams that are looking to make moves while the Knicks are playing it in the background, even though some reporters and some beat writers and blog writers are trying to make it seem like the Knicks are in these moves. But which move do you think the Knicks should actually go for? Which move do you think the Knicks will actually go for? We're going to talk about that in today's video. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Crew? It's your boy CK2K here. Welcome back to another video. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell. Don't forget to like this video. Guys, we are a few days away from the trade deadline, so we're probably going to be talking a lot about what's to come, if the Knicks will make a move, this, that, and the third here this week. And today is going to be no different because we've had a lot of craziness going over the weekend, so you know I got to talk about one of the big moves and one of the big stories that were going on over the weekend. That is around my boy Lonzo Ball. Now, we saw on Sunday Lonzo Ball did not play his game because of it's actually an injury he had in the past that probably was just flaring up a little bit. Maybe he had a hip injury that kept him out of the game on Sunday, where we saw Stan Van Gundy get to play the rotation that he's been wanting to play, which has been running all of his young guards and all of his scorers, and you know, just maybe this pushes the needle in the way of Lonzo Ball being traded. That's at least what everybody on social media was thinking. I mean, I was one of them. I was here thinking like, we're in the end game now. Lonzo's getting traded. Now, previously, and I still kind of feel this way, I do think that Lonzo Ball is ultimately going to stay a part of the New Orleans Pelicans, just because I feel like they're going to be asking for too much going into the deadline where they won't get anything. And at the end of the day, regardless of what we might feel like it makes sense, you know, the Knicks go after him in the offseason and this, that, and the third, they can match whatever contract is thrown at him, and they can ultimately give him more than anything. I have to sneeze. Allergies, excuse me. Happy spring, y'all. It's springtime. At the end of the day, the Pelicans can match whatever deal is thrown at Lonzo Ball's way in the offseason, so it's not as crucial for them. But on the other side of it, I do sort of believe and sort of think that they might settle for a move before the deadline, because I don't think that they were ever looking to probably sign Lonzo Ball long-term in the offseason. I mean, I've mentioned it several times in the past. The Pelicans are in a place where they just signed Brandon Ingram for a lot of money. They made a trade for Steven Adams for, what, 2 more years? Another year for a lot of money. And they're going to be, what, a year or 2 away from having to extend or having to give Zion Williamson a lot of money. So that straps them for cash, being that they're a small market team. They don't have the cash to then pay Lonzo Ball on top of that, and then still have to find some money for Zion Williamson. They're going to have to make deals along the way to free up those books. And then on top of that, fill up other spots for the team. So with that being said, I feel like even though it might seem like it's the best idea for them to probably keep Lonzo Ball, because I ultimately believe Lonzo Ball is the best option at point guard for that team with what they have, they might not be able to afford him, and I think that's at the end of the day. So that's why in the back of my mind, I believe that they might ultimately just make a trade for Lonzo so they can get something out of it rather than just letting him walk in the offseason. And that's why I believe the Knicks should go after him early rather than wait until the offseason. I mean, theoretically, because of everything I just mentioned, the Knicks probably are going to win this offseason if we just go in and throw the bag at Lonzo, which might be a little bit out of the range for the New Orleans Pelicans, which will ultimately have him signed to us. But at the same time, if a team like the Bulls or like the Clippers go out there and trade for him in this before the deadline, he's not going to leave in the offseason. Maybe the Bulls, but the Clippers trade for him, even though I don't think he makes sense for that Clippers team right now, he's going to stay there. It's LA, and who knows what's going to happen for the future of that team. So it just makes the most sense for him to probably stay there, because then now he gets his second chance in LA, and depending on how he plays over there with guys like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I mean, me looking at it, 2020, I don't see how it fits, because he plays a pace that this Clippers team does not play. Lonzo Ball pushes the pace. The Clippers play slow motion, and they play like the Nets, one-on-one basketball. So I don't know where Lonzo fits in that, but theoretically, if you bring that point guard in, maybe that'll change up what the team needs to play, or how the team would want to play. So that brings me back to my point. The Knicks need to be aggressive, especially when we're hearing the reports that that the Pelicans are looking for a lottery pick, but at the same time, the Bulls might have heard that report, but they still believe that Thomas Satoransky and a few seconds is enough for Lonzo Ball. We definitely have a package that can fit that need. And I've even mentioned I'm okay giving up a 2022 pick if we have to, a 2024 pick if we have to. That's fine. What I feel like a lot of people don't realize is that the Knicks are building up a lot of this for possible trades in the future. I feel like these are smaller pieces that can help us get, fill a need. This isn't just like we're making a small trade to help us, play better for this season. No, we fill this need of getting our starting point guard for a few years, a 23-year-old young guard. So to me, it just makes the most sense that, we try to be a little bit more aggressive by this deadline on Thursday, because we run the risk of missing out on this and then hoping that we get lucky in this draft, or we get lucky in free agency this year yet again. And I hate that. I hate running that risk. I really do. So I just feel like we should be on the phones with them. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't see the Knicks making any kind of trade for them, although I'm really hoping and praying that they do. Ultimately, I don't think that they will, but I do think we need to be a little bit more aggressive on the phones and seeing what can stick when it comes to getting Lonzo Ball, because the Atlanta Hawks came out of nowhere, and then now they're looking to offer guys like Cam Reddish and Boban Bogdanovic, I can never say your name, to get a guy like Lonzo Ball, which again, another team which makes no sense to me. I mean, maybe if they want to try this new 2-point guard system, I just don't know how that works with Trae Young and Lonzo. Show me an example of where it's worked, where the two small guard combo wins you games all the way to the championship level. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. To me, the Hawks idea, if they do that, fine. I don't know if Lonzo stays. I'm not a fan of that, but the Hawks nonetheless are looking to try and bring in Lonzo Ball, and we'll see what that does. So the Knicks need to be more aggressive when it comes to Lonzo. I don't want to talk about Lonzo this entire time, but he was the one that was where all the reports were at over the weekend, so I wanted to bring that up. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we should just stay put, maybe just wait till the offseason to go sign him? Because like I mentioned, it seems like we can throw in a big enough bag where the Pelicans will be forced to not match him because they don't have that money and they're strapped for cash. Or do you think we should be aggressive and give up a few things that we're probably not going to have on this team anyways, like Austin Rivers, maybe have to give up with Kevin Knox, who we're not even playing in the first place. Who knows what kind of package, but we have the assets to make a package that can give us Lonzo Ball, and he's not just a piece for right now. This is a piece long term. So either way, I think it's something we should look into. I'm just a little worried that a team like the Clippers or the Bulls go in there and make that move, and then he finds a team where he's going to want to stay long term, and he's going to skip the process in the offseason, and then we're screwed. But let me know your thoughts about Lonzo in the comments below. But he's not the only name that has been swirling around in these last few days, especially with the trade deadline on Thursday. Definitely, we already know about the common suspects, Victor Oladipo, Andre Drummond, stuff like that. But then now we're seeing Norman Powell. I haven't heard anything about Norman Powell up until our boy CP mentioned it on Knicks Fan TV when we did the post game a few days ago.
Keep an eye out on along the lines of 3 and D is Norman Powell. from the Toronto Raptors.
So since that report came out from CP, I'm going to put it on CP. I know other people are trying to claim it now because they're saying other teams. No, CP was the first person I heard it from, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing from everybody else. CP was the one that dropped the bomb. Shout out to CP, shout out to the source. So Norman Powell is out there in these streets now. We're seeing Aaron Gordon. We knew that they're open to deals for Aaron Gordon, but now it's looking like he's officially being shopped. There's tons of names out there, especially now with a lot of Knicks fans being excited. They're trying to put our name connected to him. So here's the thing. Do the Knicks make trades for him? I don't know, because the asking price is very high for a lot of these guys, which is why I believe a lot of these guys might stay put by the deadline. Andre Drummond to me seems like he's probably going to be one of the only few that actually gets moved. I think they're just looking for the right suitor and looking for the right kind of haul that they're going to bring back. That is Cleveland. But other than that, I feel like Victor Oladipo, for what the Rockets are asking for, because we're seeing the Rockets are asking for a first round or a lottery pick or whatever the case may be, nobody's going to pay that up for Victor Oladipo. Or maybe somebody does that's really desperate, needs that, fine. But I feel like he's going to end up staying put if that's the asking price that they're looking for. Aaron Gordon might get moved. I know I see Knicks fans trying to put all kinds of trades together to try and get him in there. But at the same time, for what do the Knicks need to do? Because we do need to make some sort of move at this deadline. Who is it for? Norman Powell to me is the guy that I'm looking at if we are going to make any kind of move, because let's be real, we're still trying to flip Austin Rivers. We still have some kind of capital that we can move to get another guy that can help us bring some scoring to this team, and Norman Powell would be that guy. To have Norman Powell and Alec Burks on, scoring off the bench, especially with IQ as well, because I think Alec Burks has done a good job playing the three in some situations, especially with a lot of teams playing a lot smaller now. I think that'd be a great haul for Norman Powell, depending on who we give up to get Norman Powell. I think we can give up a nice deal. It's just, if the Raptors are asking for too much, I think that's crazy. But I also think that people in today's trade deadline, I think that they expect these teams to ask for a lot more than what they really are asking for. I think they play too much 2K. They think a guy like Norman Powell is going to draw 2 first-round picks to get him. I don't see that being real. I think 2 players and a pick is more than enough, whether it's a second, maybe a few second-round picks. But I think the Norman Powell trade, if he ends up getting traded, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more of a surprise of what it is. We hear a lot of that's it, because I think people expect these players, because of how well they play, they think that they're gonna garner way more trade value than they really do in real life. I don't know. I just feel like the proposed deals before the trade is actually made is way higher than what actually ends up being moved in the deal. That's just my personal opinion. But the question is, with all these names all over the place, who are the Knicks gonna go for? And that's the question I'm really asking you guys, because I don't really know. Norman Powell to me is probably the one that I'm looking at the most. I would entertain some kind of Aaron Gordon deal. I just don't know what the Magic are looking for in that deal. But at the same time, with a lot of these other guys, Drummond, I still don't believe we should make a move for. Victor Oladipo, if you really want him, wait for the offseason. If we're not going to make a move for Lonzo Ball, why the hell are we going to make a move for a Victor Oladipo, who, I don't know. To me, I just feel like the point guard is a bigger need for me right now for this team. I feel like a lot of other things open up if we get a point guard, especially a guy like Lonzo Ball, who opens up the game for everyone else. I feel like I'd rather make that move early for Lonzo and then possibly go after Victor Oladipo in the offseason, but that's just my personal opinion. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of names out there, so I just want to open that floor up for you guys on Monday, and we'll see what opens up as the week goes on. I mean, hell, while I'm editing this video, there might be a move, and if that happens, of course, I'm gonna have to throw it into this video. But for right now, it's just looking like a lot of names are swirling around, and who do you think the Knicks are going to be circled around? We'll see. We got till Thursday, but let me know your thoughts about everything in the comments below. Do we make a trade for any of these guys I named? What do you think the packages look like for any of these guys I named? Aaron Gordon, Norman Powell, so on and so forth. Let me know in the comments below. It's me, your boy CK. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and do not forget to like this video. Join the CK Crew membership if you haven't already. Check out the other channels streaming tonight over on Twitch. I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let's get it. I'll see y'all later, and peace.
Feeling like I won the lotto. Always taking trips with a new chick, asking where the time goes. And I wonder if this is all I'll know.